In this video, we are going to smooth out a little bit the edge of the Earth, as well as applying global defocus to our background. So if you look at the Earth right now, you can see that the edge here is very aliased and sharp. And this is not nice for the integration. So I'd like to smooth that out a little bit. And for that, I will use an edge blur. And the edge blur node can be found here into the filter blur menu. And here we do have edge blur. Okay. Now the question is, where am I going to place the edge blur? Well, I could place it at the end of the Earth tree, which is all that part, because this is all represents the Earth. Yeah, well, let's try that. I will put my edge blur here and now increase the size of it to see what's going on. And well, it doesn't seem to work well. I don't know what's going on. Actually, I know what's going on, but it doesn't work well here. Let's see why. Okay, I will unplug the edge blur for now. And now, why it doesn't work? Well, because the edge blur is taking in consideration the alpha of my image, and it will detect the edges in the alpha and blur them. For example, if I plug the edge blur right after the Earth here, and I look at it, I can see that the edge blur is working properly. All right, so if we place it there, it doesn't work because we have here a smooth alpha coming out of the atmosphere, as well as a smoother alpha coming out of the homemade glow that we've done. So definitely, if we want to smooth out that hard edge that we have here and here and here, we will place that edge blur after those guys, but before those smooth guys here. All right, so we'll disconnect the edge blur and place it here. And now let's see what's going on. Well, it seems that we still have a problem. Well, I told you that the edge blur is using the alpha of the image. And here our alpha was good, it was working fine. And the problem here is coming from that merge, where we are merging the RGB of the Earth light, but we are as well plusing the alpha channel. And if I connect my viewer here and I hover my mouse of the alpha here, I can see in the information down there that the alpha is 2. And this is not good. An alpha channel always needs to be between 0 and 1. When the alpha is above 1, you will start having problems when merging layers. So we need to correct that. And the simple thing to correct it is to come to your merge node and to say, okay, you are going to take in consideration the RGB of everything, but I want you only to mix the RGB. So in the output of my merge node, I will say RGB. And this is a bit confusing because even if you say RGB, it will mean that it will merge everything, but it will just take the alpha channel of the B input of your merge. Okay, now if I hover my mouse on the viewer, you can see that my alpha is 1. I could have the same problem with that merge here, but as you can see here, my Earth clouds layer doesn't have an alpha channel, so it won't add anything on the top of the previous alpha channel, so I don't need to modify anything on my merge 4. But if I wanted to be sure as well, I could come here and set my outputs to RGB. Now let's go back to my edge blur, and I will shift back to the RGB color with the A key. And as you can see, it works. Perfect. Let's put a value of 6. I don't know. I think it could be good. And in order to judge the effect, let's plug our viewer at the end of our comp. And let's toggle that edge blur on and off to see the difference. And yeah, I think it's pretty cool. All right, now let's add a defocus to our background. Well, now it's a little bit easier because we're gonna apply the defocus overall. Now, we could have alpha issues as well. So let's see how the alpha is looking like after the merge one. So we'll plug my viewer after the merge one, and I will toggle to the alpha channel with the A key while my mouse is on the top of the viewer. And I can see that I have a kind of weird alpha as well, right? So this is like above one, and this is a little bit weird. So I don't know what's going on, but what I want to make sure is that my alpha is correct before applying another effect on it. So what I can do here is to use a shuffle node that will help me. So the same shuffle node that we use here, but you will see. Okay, so I will create a shuffle node with the tab key and by looking for the shuffle, and I will place it after my merge here. And now I will check my shuffle, and I don't want to touch anything. Basically, I want the shuffle node to output whatever it inputs, so from RGBA to RGBA, but I just like to set that here. All my alpha is going to be 1, is going to be white. And now if I go after my shuffle, I can see that everything is white and everything is at 1, and we don't have like those black and white values, and neither those values above 1. So it's perfect. Okay, I will toggle back to the RGB with the A key, and I will now create my defocus. So same, the defocus live in the filter blur menu here, and right here, defocus. Okay? And I will plug that defocus after my shuffle and my viewer to it, and let's see. So I'll zoom in, and I can see that here it's defocus. If I toggle on and off, I can see the difference. One more time, in order to judge properly, I need to connect my viewer at the end of my comp. There we go. And now I can go back here and toggle on and off to see the difference. And I think it's pretty good. You can increase it as much as you want, but I think that we just need a teeny bit, maybe like 1.5 in our case is enough. So I think that there's two things that important to remember in this clip, that you have different kind of blur that you can use, like the defocus, the edge blur, and we use as well the blur previously. But as well, it's important to realize that most of the blur nodes are driven by the alpha channel. So it's important when creating a blur node to be careful of how is my alpha channel, is everything is correct. All right, cool, perfect. Now let's move on to the next clip where we are going to create a rudder shape to create a vignette to darken one side of the earth. See you there.